Sweet. So I wanted to hop on here with my buddy Mitch Miller to talk about some of the amazing results that he was able to get from selling out some of his high ticket offers, both online, but specifically in his live in person events. And it's become a pretty integral part of his business model. And created some pretty nuts results in 3 days that even astounded me. So I'm stoked to just have like a casual conversation, share a little bit about like what the process was like, what you came to me with, what you were thinking, and what you ended up getting out of our work together.
Right. Yeah. It's cool. So we had an event coming up in Puerto Rico last year, and we decided, because we've done so many events since 2015, and the events were getting more and more. I mean, in 2018, I think we did like 13 of our own events, and then at least 6 or 7 events where I was speaking, and it was getting out of hand. But one thing we were dropping the ball on is we weren't doing any high ticket upsells, and part of that was laziness. Part of that was we're just like going at 11 speed on the treadmill, and it was like smoking already. So we're like, Jesus, what are we going to do? Put on something else. So part of it's the obligation that we didn't know if we wanted to have. And so in my head, I wanted to do high ticket. And so my idea of high ticket before we had chatted was something that's $5,000, something that is just a program that would be information, so that, again, I don't have that obligation.
Yeah.
And I was toying around with the pitch and what I should do, and wasn't sure. And then we came through LA. We decided to link up. So we just, we went to your house, we chilled out for a bit. And I was like, yo, dude, I'm like, you got any advice for me? Because this is what I'm thinking of doing. And one thing, you were like, you immediately had me realize, this kind of snapped me out of it, the idea that like $5,000 is not high ticket, and basically a gross waste of the potential of the money, not even just the money you make at the event, but then of the level that you can actually help people at, and their level of readiness to spend a high amount to commit to themselves through that high ticket. So you helped me realize one other thing you were like is the idea of them being robbed out of the chance to commit to themselves at such a level. And so we started toying around with why play small? Why like let's think of actual high ticket offer. And so that you kind of bended my mind there, and you like kind of helped me raise my standard, because I've been in this game a long time. I know a lot about what to do and what not to do, and the thing is, like, no man is an island, so you got to get out of your own shit. And so I'm glad that we talked, because there are a couple other small structural pieces that you helped with when creating our offer for the 24K, which was a lot higher than anything that I've sold, as far as anything from stage. First of all, when it comes to copywriting projects, things like that, I've sold $30,000-$40,000 copywriting projects for sales letters and shit like that. Not a problem. But when it came to coaching, group coaching, and then especially trying to sell off the back of an event in person, I was like basically terrified. Like, even making the offer, I was like, Jesus, this is like, it's crazy. Just because it's new, like your heart's pounding. You're like, why is my heart pounding? Yeah. Anyway, so you helped me create and flesh out the offer to mostly what it became. I mean, I'd say about 80 to 85% of it was what we talked about and fleshed out together there. And there was some really key, components to that offer that really made it work, I think. I'm not going to explain them here. I think people can, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, they can, get your magic from your lips specific to their offers and things like that. But we went and did that event, and we originally thought we hit 200K in that day, and it ended up being, like, after the invoices were settled, it was like 180 something. So we got paid 180. And the event was a 2-day event. and I made the pitch at the end of the first day and during the second day as well. And so that was a big win for us. And going forward, of course, you can't go back. So we'll always make a high ticket offer at our events. And we've changed our business model a little bit since to kind of not do so much online virtual coaching, but more push the model towards a almost completely in-person consulting model where we meet several times a year. And that's at the same price, and now we're raising our prices as well. So this trajectory of high ticket, I think no doubt you would have eventually got there. I think that without your help or your kind of metaphorical smack against the head to say, hey, why are you guys playing so small? We would have made 5 times less than we did at that event, and definitely would have delayed the whole kind of jumping off the diving board going into the high ticket realm going forward. So for that mindset shift, I thank you, and for some of the key structural pieces to the offer that we talked about together, I also thank you for those.
Yeah, dude, it was an honor to help you. I'm surprised how well it did, given that it was literally like maybe a day or two before the event, and we were like after the day together. Yeah, I was just like followed up of like, hey,
no offer, no pitch. It was like no pitch like days before the event. Just like pulled it out of my ass. But that also goes to show if you know your stuff and you truly believe you can help people, then you don't need to be so ready that you just kind of mind screw yourself into oblivion. You can go, you can make an offer, you can get going. I really didn't finish crafting the pitch fully until we were eating tacos about an hour before I made the pitch. And so that's how it goes.
Yeah, which is nuts. And it's like, and it was a 2-day event, which is not even optimal for selling at a live event. Usually like 3 days is ideal. And so that's why I was like extra surprised. And then the fact that you were actually co-hosting the event with someone else, and you weren't even like the only main speaker, and you made the offer in day one. Usually it's like a 3-day thing, one person hosts it, and then like that person's elevated as like the guru head and everybody wants to work with them. Whereas like you just did it pretty quick and raw and dirty, and it worked, and it worked really well.
But he was pitching too. We were pitching side by side. We had competing products.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I thought it was like extra nuts, because it wasn't even the only offer at the event, versus when I help most of my clients, it's like it's their event. Granted, it was your event too. You probably filled most of the room, but it's like for most of my clients, they're the only one making the offer, and they have 3 days to build out that experience. And we only got to touch on a few of the things of like how to actually structure the event to reinforce the value of the offer. But it was just like, because it was so last minute, we only got to implement maybe like a few of those things, right? Versus if we actually went into how to structure that event so that enrolling in the next step is like the natural byproduct of the experience, it would have been multiplied by that much more. So it was a great example of just like, if you know your shit, if you have people that listen to you and follow you, like it's there's just an amazing opportunity to serve them with something deeper than your typical 5K course that 90 days of training plus maybe a few calls, versus like actually being able to go deep and really help people. And doing stuff in person is the ideal way, or like in person is the ideal time to sell some of these in-person offers at a higher ticket, just because that's where the most trust is built. Obviously you can sell it without events. I sell stuff more than that outside of events. I have my clients sell stuff more than that outside of events. But if anyone's got an event coming up and you have, people in the room, or even if you're just thinking you want to sell bigger stuff, if you want to add in some sort of monthly recurring revenue into your business, a lot of clients come to me because they feel like they're starting over every single month, and they have to scramble to sell some sort of offer, whether it's 5K or 1K or whatever it is. They're always scrambling. And so adding this in stabilizes the business tremendously and creates that like monthly stable recurring revenue with people you fucking love. Like one of your favorite things now is like to actually fulfill on this thing that was being sold. And yeah, it varies. Some people like the in-person stuff that you're doing now. Some people don't want to commit to it just because their travel schedule. I know you got a fucking intense travel schedule, as I can see right now. So it's like, and you're doing a live event tomorrow. So like sometimes people, they prefer the online portion. So it's like, just know that whoever, if you're listening to this and if you're thinking about doing high ticket events or high ticket packages, whether at events or just year long, just enrolling people, or some people do 6 months because they're scared of holding a year-long container. It's like the first time you do this will be different than the second time you do it or the third time you do it. I have people that are scared of doing a full year-long program, so they launch it as a 6-month thing. They run it, they love it, and then they decide to re-enroll for another 6 months. There's some people that go a year off the bat. There's some people that only do one live event because they don't want to, commit to doing more. Some people do 2. I know you do 4 now, and have switched that model. So there's just a bunch of different ways to do it, and sometimes the thing that blocks people from actually doing it is just getting crystal clear on those pieces of how to structure the offer, what to include, how to rationalize it to yourself and feel amazing about it, so that when you present it to others, they feel amazing about it too. And
Yeah, and you also gotta like, there's a million ways to structure an offer, and what it comes down to, what's sustainable for you, what fits you, and that's what's important. Like, for those of you watching, if you ever talk with Kevin, it's like it's not like there's no like one size fits all, because
yeah,
there's many ways to skin a cat, and that's kind of the point.
yeah, totally. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. It is uniquely tailored, and there's certain structures that are super awesome to follow, especially with payment plans and pay in full stuff. Like it, what I love
Yeah,
about that is like the I remember the amount you collected just in pay in fulls alone was, I think, like 62 grand, like that day, plus another, I don't know, like 18K more from just the first month's payment from people. So it's like being able to walk away with 63 grand cash from pay in fulls, and then like another 18 or whatever in your, or whatever, 12 or whatever it was, 12 to 18. Yeah, it's like another 15K. So it's like, that's like 75K cash from 2 days, from a 2-day event. And then, a couple or like 100 grand plus in contracts. So
yeah,
that is just so fucking cool, because I know that just that day one value of the end of day 3, like we may have not even hit it with just total total sales from the 5K offer, versus we were able to get that all up front. So that was one of my favorite parts about what we did for you. And yeah, and then there's so many ways we could have dialed that in more with, like, proper planning and financing and um, different things to do at the event with existing clients to really um, just amplify the experience of working with you. So yeah, I'm just excited that this is one of the main models you're running. It was a unique privilege to help and serve you, just because you've been, such an impactful person for me as both a mentor and coach. And so to be able to do that for someone whose gifts I truly believe in is really, really fulfilling for me, and so much better than just like, oh, high ticket's the cool thing now, so like let me just get a bunch of strangers into a high ticket program. It's like, what I really love is finding people that really have gifts and helping them come out and helping people charge prices that adequately compensate their gifts, that allow them to serve at an even higher level. And so that was the most fulfilling part about it, for me, and to know that it's like the main model. Granted, you adjusted it a few times, and everyone will, but like the fact that you're going to be running this at your event tomorrow with Perry Belcher and from Digital Marketer Lab and Bobby Stocks and really badass people, and that this is like the core of your business model, just feels really, really fulfilling for me.
and man, appreciate your help. It's good stuff, man. Gotta surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, if you're watching this and you want help with selling high ticket or doing events or just reach out. Happy to help if you know your shit and that if the people that actually pay those fees will get served. I'd love to help you.